I want to bring in Laura Jarrett here. Laura, from the search warrant, we've gotten some information about what this investigation was about. It was about a 2020 book pre-publication review that was under review by obviously people in the State Department and other bodies, and a hack of Bolton's AOL account by foreign entities. What more do we know from that?
Yeah, we should help people understand. John Bolton has been under investigation for multiple different administrations, right? He was investigated first dating back to Bill Barr under the first Trump administration. That investigation continued into the Biden administration, and then the Biden DOJ dropped it. Now, what exactly the charges is, we're going to have to wait and see the charging papers. Yeah. Peter has obviously reported that the grand jury has returned that indictment, which is significant. We should also note the difference here between the indictments of other Trump foes, like Letitia James and former FBI Director James Comey. Here, there was a raid on his home, on his office. That means that there was probable cause, that a judge found, an independent judge found, that a probable cause that a crime had been committed. You can't get a search warrant like that. You can't carry out boxes and documents and take someone's phone without probable cause. So that's a difference between these cases that we should note.
And that this investigation started in the first Trump administration. The Biden administration then looked into this, dropped this, and then it was reopened in the second Trump term.
And the question is, what did they find to reopen that investigation? And perhaps this isn't related to the book. For a long time, there have been questions about whether he had mishandled classified information, whether leaked information to reporters, put things in the book that he shouldn't have. He was tasked with safeguarding our nation's most secret information. And the question was, did he share it in a way? Did he hoard the information in a way? What exactly happened? It appears, according to the warrants, warrants that we saw, that it actually related to a hack of his AOL account. So the question was he typing out drafts of things in his AOL account? There had been some reporting that he was almost keeping a running diary while working in the White House.
Every day, maybe. Yeah.
That would be quite serious if, in fact, that's what he's indicted.
And he was posting this on AOL. And it's interesting, right? Because
or keeping drafts, like we all do, except this was with classified information, at least according to prosecutors. That's what we think this is about.
And you would think if the allegations are true, he would have known better, because John Bolton is not somebody who came from the business world or from the MAGA world. He had been in the White House and public life almost his entire adult life.
Former UN ambassador.
The Reagan administration, the first Bush administration. He worked for President Trump, State Department. They worked in the UN. I mean, he had kind of been all around. He had been around the block, so he would know these things.
Absolutely.
But you can also be careless, and if you are careless, if the allegations are true, sometimes they can be criminal.
Well, look, when you occupy a position like National Security Advisor, you actually sign a document saying that you're going to safeguard your secrets. You're going to actually keep things safe. You're going to keep them in a secure location. And so he certainly knew. The question is whether any of the material we were talking about was actually classified. He has maintained for years that nothing in his book was classified. He said that he got a waiver.
He got it reviewed, and that's the process.
He got it reviewed, but there were lengthy negotiations. Remember, the president actually sued to try to get his book stopped before it was published. Wasn't successful, but we will have to see what the indictment actually charges.
I want to bring in NBC News Justice reporter Reilly to kind of walk us through this a little bit. Ryan, our viewers at home, we're trying to get as much information as we can. We can confirm that he has been indicted. We don't know the charges yet or the counts just yet. I'm sure that'll come in time. These documents sometimes hit a sort of federal database called PACER. We can then draw from that. We're still waiting on a lot of information. We're also watching John Bolton's home to see if anything happens there, possibly if investigators go in, if he is arrested, if he comes out and makes a statement. This is his front door right now. We have live cameras outside of his house. Ryan, I know you've been working your sources. What have you learned?
Yeah, so the docket has been created itself, but we don't know the actual charges yet on PACER. So basically, we know that this case has been brought forward as Peter first reported here. And to get to Laura's point, this case is a little bit different from those cases against the other two Trump enemies that he has targeted, because there is a history of bringing forward these types of cases involving classified documents. Most famously, recently, of course, against the now sitting president and related to the search of his home in Mar-a-Lago. So there is a history of them taking very seriously these allegations of mishandling of classified documents and classified information. Those are prosecutions we see on a regular basis, whereas the case that has been brought against James Comey and Letitia James are in a separate category. Especially those mortgage cases are very rarely brought. So, this is a complicated matter, but as Laura pointed to, because there was this judge that signed off on this search, that had to meet a certain threshold But still, the grand jury process is this lower threshold than convincing a jury unanimously that an individual committed a crime beyond a reasonable doubt. So this is a multi-step process, and of course, I would expect that we would see his lawyers argue that John Bolton's lawyers argue that this case was poisoned by Donald Trump's comments, and any comments that he continues to make about that are certainly something I think that we'll see, Tom, come up in the future.
Yeah, and then Ryan, we should also point out the Justice Department has had a lot of experience on classified documents and these investigations over the last two administrations, both with President Trump and President Biden both being charged and investigated.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, Biden was investigated for this as well. And, of course, then there's the Hillary Clinton investigation as well, just to bring this back to the beginning of Donald Trump's coming to office during the 2016 campaign. So, yes, there have been a history of them investigating these classified documents across the board for very prominent individuals, including, of course, the president and the former president, Joe Biden, who was under investigation and related to documents in his garage.
Yeah, Ryan Reilly for us. Ryan, we appreciate that. We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.